It's one of the things that drove me to amplify myself. Once I amplified myself, my work was better, it was faster. And then the next phase I knew that we needed is not just amplifying yourself, but scaling yourself.
This is Money Never Sleeps. Sharp riffs, big ideas, and real insights from smart people. I'm Pete Townsend. Let's go.
Money never sleeps, pal.
So, Joni Pirovich, founder of Crystal AOS and the walking, living version of the innovator's dilemma. Disrupt before you're disrupted. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Pete. Good to be here.
So listen, you pinged me last week and you said that you liked the predictions that Alejandro and I did, where the headline was crypto is getting boring. Okay. And crypto doesn't get boring because it failed. It's a sign of maturity. So when people hear crypto is boring, why do you think they misunderstand what that actually means?
Well, I think crypto has had so many highs and lows over the last decade that it's probably about time that it got boring.
Totally. Thinking back to your life before becoming founder of Crystal AOS, is that you were a lawyer and still are to this day, obviously.
Yeah.
But in terms of that expertise that's required that doesn't scale, were you ever that bottleneck yourself as a lawyer?
All the time. And it's one of the things that drove me to amplify myself. And actually, when I first started playing around with AI, my first AI application to amplify myself was what's now called Crystal Chat. And it's a global repository of all of the crypto laws and regulations around the world and policy announcements. And I could chat with that daily to check my work, to make sure that I had identified risks and best practices around the world. Singapore's doing this on stable coins. Hong Kong's doing that. How does this feed into what the US is negotiating at the moment? And even though the profiles of projects and people that have come in and out of crypto over the last decade have changed a lot, actually being a crypto lawyer and advising on best practice standards hasn't. And I couldn't do that fast enough without tools like Crystal Chat. So once I amplified myself with Crystal Chat, my work was better, it was faster, and I was billing my clients less for better work. And then the next phase I knew that we needed to move into for hyper-performing advisors is not just amplifying yourself, but scaling yourself.
Totally. When you mention all the different crypto regulations that are coming up in the world and that trying to cross-reference between all of them and advise your clients on all of that, it seems like AI is a survival tool.
It has to be. It's a non-negotiable now. And so then the next step is, how do we use AI with guardrails? Because it's probabilistic. It's not always going to produce the same outcome as it did the last 2 times or the last 200 times. So how do we set up our systems to incorporate AI responsibly and safely? And that's the problem I've been working on for the last few years.
Thinking about things like what changes when compliance stops being something that people do as an add-on to their business and becomes something that just runs in the background.
Yeah, and I actually have bought a Tesla in the last year. And the best analogy I can give is, in previous cars, I would get a sticker to have the car serviced at 10,000 kilometers and then 50,000 kilometers, and just these sort of seemingly arbitrary numbers. And I didn't know what parts needed to be changed at each service or really how much it was going to cost. But now with the Tesla, there's no such thing as a 10,000 kilometer service. I get notifications to say your tread in your left rear tire is low. It's time to get it changed. And so this is the perfect analogy, I think, as our compliance systems get smarter, we're not just arbitrarily doing an annual business risk review or these check the box type things that are ad hoc and not in the moment. You're actually getting notifications that are meaningful that you can respond to straight away. And your day-to-day becomes focused on the quality issues that are really going to lead to the business growth and more choice for the users.
I've got to upgrade my car. I'm about to spend another probably $2,000 on a catalytic converter for my 12-year-old car. But yeah, the warning lights on that weren't very helpful. It was just blink, blink, blink. And that's, kind of looking at compliance today in crypto exchanges. They're lucky if they get the blink, blink, blink.
Exactly.
Never mind a message that comes to you that says you are potentially in breach of this regulation. Looking at your kind of the wedge that you've built into the market, Joni, and that you've got those firms on board that know that they have to embrace regulation and they have to move forward with it and actually can be a benefit to the business. Like stablecoins, for example, that hit 250 billion as an asset class before regulation. And look what now regulation will do to that to open up the universe even more. Right. Have you come across yet any firms that have said, well, listen, we're staying away from regulation? And do you think they might hit a wall later?
I think the firms are more mature now, and they're not so much saying, let's stay away from regulation, but those that are choosing to incorporate or to remain in, I'd say, regulatory and tax-friendly jurisdictions are those that have very pioneering innovations that really don't fit. They're the square peg round hole problem. Those are the projects that they have a true heart, a true innovator's heart to make change, but they need some freedom and flexibility in those regulatory and tax-friendly environments before they can mature into jurisdictions that are working on changing their laws and evolving them for these idiosyncrasies. Just look at the US market structure bill negotiations and the carve out with the European Union for fully decentralized projects. There is a mind towards what that change is, but there's a journey for the regulators and the governments to go on how to sensibly bring that into regulatory frameworks.
Thinking about things like agentic compliance specifically and agentic legal advice, talk to me about how this will allow you to multiply expertise.
A lot of it revolves around there are a set of laws that need to be complied with or a set of internal policies that all of the internal staff and external stakeholders to some degree need to know about and follow. And there's a need for evidence that those laws or internal policies have been followed. We need to have guardrails that say, well, even though the process is known, the AI output could still go off track. And so we need the human in the loop accountability. But more than that, we need another set of AI agents reviewing and evaluating what the primary AI or the agentic processes are producing. We can see what the AI is doing. We could intervene anytime, but we've got these human checkpoints and these AI detectives making sure that it's all working okay.
Within their day-to-day business. Why is that gap so hard to cross?
It's such a different way of working. It's like the first time that a human elevates in their role from a doer to a manager, you have to let go. And you have to learn the new skill of instructing the junior team members how to do what, yes, it could be easier if you do it yourself, but if you're the one still doing all of that work, you're still the player and you're not the coach. And so you never have time to scale yourself and the business. And that mindset change, that hurts people to go through it. And so on a larger scale, when an enterprise is saying, we want to lift everybody up to manager or to coach so that you have a workforce of agentic workflows and AI agents working for you, that is going to hurt. And so first of all, it's identifying that we are moving this way, whether we like it or not.
We are.
And that's actually part of why the innovator's dilemma, why I started it. I could see that the traditional delivery of legal and compliance services was going to change with AI. And if somebody was going to change that, then I wanted to be at the forefront and doing it sensibly and responsibly from all of the experience of actually being an advisor. And that's what I've done. That's what I'm doing.
You absolutely have. You absolutely have. If someone's still waiting for perfect clarity before engaging with crypto or AI, what's the risk of waiting too long?
Well, I say in the same way that perfect is the enemy of good, waiting is the enemy of ongoing relevance. If you're waiting, you're actually not experimenting and learning, and you could possibly be missing out on the skills that are going to carry you through the next shift to the AI era. So start now, stop waiting.
So true. So true. And Joni, for people who want to keep following your thinking, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
I'm mostly on LinkedIn at Joni Pirovich, and they can follow the Crystal AOS page. That's where I share a lot of AI developments, how it's being used in legal risk and compliance, as well as global crypto policy developments. But otherwise, on Telegram at Joni Pirovich. I'm responsive there.
Fantastic. Yes. And I know that for a fact. You are. So thank you.
It's the crypto expectation. Respond immediately.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joni. Awesome chat.
Thanks, Pete. No, great to be here.
Money never sleeps, pal.